There was a movie that came out a number of years ago called Shallow Hal. And the premise of this movie was this guy had some experience that now when he looked at a woman, her inner beauty came out externally. So that he would see someone who had a beautiful heart on the surface. And reflecting on this, I wonder what would happen if we could see ourselves in a different way. For instance, we spend so much time and energy trying to make ourselves beautiful or to keep our beauty or retain our attractiveness. What if, for a moment, our soul and the condition of our soul was made manifest on the surface of our bodies? In other words, literally, our inner beauty or inner ugliness was seen on the outside. We're going to be entering into Lent. In fact, this is the 8th Sunday in the Tempus Granum, the ordinary time for the year. The last time we were in the cycle of Luke, in the 8th Sunday of ordinary time before Lent, Lent came so late, it was 20 years ago. So it's been a long time that we've gone this far in. Ash Wednesday will be this Wednesday, and we have Mass here around 12 noon. Brook Chapel will also have a 9 o'clock evening Mass here at Brook Chapel. And this is a time when we enter into a period of preparation. We're preparing for the cross, because there is no resurrection, there is no redemption without a crucifixion. So we are preparing for the cross and the passion, but we're also preparing to welcome our redemption through Easter. And there are a number of ways that we prepare for this. I mean, if we think about it like a marathon, you prepare differently for a marathon than you would for any other race. Have you ever seen a Rocky movie? You know, right when he decides he's going to go back and try again to beat the bad guy in the movie, yes, he wakes up extra early, he has the music starting, he eats the raw eggs and all this stuff. He trains differently than he would every day. It's not the same pattern that he kept every single day. And it shouldn't be for us either. That Lent becomes different from any other time of year. Jesus in the Gospel says, you know, it's like the blind leading the blind. I couldn't help but to think of that movie Bird Box that I never saw, but the meme of that. It's the blind leading the blind. So all of us need to be better. I'm not speaking to you as a cancer doctor is speaking to patients with cancer. I'm speaking to you as a fellow cancer sufferer. We all want to get rid of the cancer. We all want to be better. And so Lent is for all of us. We can't help others to grow closer to Christ if we ourselves are not doing that. So during Lent, we do this in a number of ways. And the first is that we begin some pious practices or abstaining or going without things. There is this tradition over the 40 days of Lent that we will give up something, or maybe we do something extra. And this is showing mortification. We're humbling ourselves. And that could be something as difficult as reaching out to that person who annoys us every day of the week, or maybe kind of trying to make up for something we've done in the past with someone that we've hurt. It could be about giving up a certain food item something that we consume every single day, or something that maybe we've been trying to get away from this forever, this bad habit, and now this is the time we're going to enter in to do that. It should be a sacrifice. It's not supposed to be something where, well, I'm giving up fish, but I hate fish, so it's okay. It's supposed to be something that really we're going to feel the burn. We're going to feel it hurt. Remember, marathon. We're training for something in a different way than we train for anything else. It should be different for us. So I'd encourage us all to think about the things that we might surrender or sacrifice as we go into Ash Wednesday. Another way we enter into this, and this can be part of that sacrificial offering, is by devotionals and pious practices. We have the Stations of the Cross. Stations of the Cross are as old as the crucifixion. Because you can imagine after Jesus is crucified, I mean, this was the one they were all waiting for. Now he's dead and he's buried. And you can imagine them following the path he took to Calvary again and again and saying, oh yeah, here's where he fell the first time. Look, you can see the blood there still. And this is where he met his mother. Remember that she came up And then this is where that guy helped him carry the cross. And so the stations, stops, we stand, has been a tradition of where we kind of relive that journey to Calvary. And even if we don't go to the Stations of the Cross in a parish or participated in that way, we can still keep it as a private devotion. I'm sure there's an app for Stations of the Cross. And if there's not, we have books at the Newman House. You can borrow one. Just a little station booklet, perhaps something to do each day. Maybe coming to one of the masses at 10:15 at night. You know, when they first brought up that mass at 10:15, I thought, oh Lord, please, you know. I'm a early to bed, early to riser, and it's my favorite mass. It really is. And it's the same group of students will show up to that, and many of them will stay after for a night prayer, a wonderful way to close down the day. But that is a sacrifice, because some of you are just getting started at 10:15, and others are kind of winding down. But to be able to enter into that and say, yeah, this is going to be a sacrifice, and this is something that I'm going to try. Maybe it's a volunteer opportunity. Every Friday during Lent, St. Joe's in Milton has their fish fry. Great bunch of people to work with. And we have students from the Newman House that will go there 3 times during this season. But you don't have to wait for those times. They take volunteers at any time. So again, something that we can think about, that we can put into practice to contribute to our mortification, our humility. On Ash Wednesday, we receive ashes, because even in the Old Testament, when they were sorry for their sins, they would put ashes on their head, or they would sit in a pile of ashes. And this was, again, it was humbling. It was to remind them, as St. Paul says, of our corruptibility, that this body is going to go away. We're all suffering from a disease called mortality. But that's not where it ends. We're talking about the incorruptible. Talking about the soul. This is the vessel and the soul within. What is it that we will do differently? Finally, a third way that we can really enter into Lent, aside from mortification and the pious practices, is the abstinence. There are 2 days of fasting and abstinence, Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. And just a note, Ash Wednesday is not a holy day of obligation. You get a lot of people coming to it, but it's not a holy day of obligation. So fasting means 1 main meal during the day and 2 lesser meals or even snacks. Now for some of you, I've seen your dietary habits. This won't be a problem, because many of you don't eat breakfast anyway, so that takes care of one of the meals. Maybe lunch is a big one, or half one, or you don't have time for lunch, so you just go to supper and then you have that. At any rate, it's supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be growling in the stomach. It's supposed to remind us that we're going without something, and fasting is a great prayer. Jesus will say in the gospel about a certain exorcism, and he'll say this one can only be cast out through prayer and fasting. So fasting is a very powerful way that we can offer a sacrifice in our own life. There are times of abstinence as well. And you might not know this, but Catholics are supposed to abstain from meat every single Friday during the year. That's right. That was never thrown away during Vatican II. What they said during Vatican II, and this was an ecumenical council, so they wanted us to be ecumenical, is they said, you have to abstain from meat every Friday, but if you cannot, in other words, if it's good for the good of the cause or the family or whatever, then you do an act of mortification in place of it. So yeah, you can eat meat on Fridays, but there must be an act of mortification done in exchange for that. The reason was we have Catholics and Protestants mixing for meals, maybe on a Friday. And the non-Catholic family might have made steak, and it would be rude for you to reject that. And so this was a way we could kind of draw people together. But during Lent, every Friday during Lent is a time of abstinence. We abstain from meat. You can eat fish, you can eat frog, you can eat any amphibian or reptile, but just no beef, no land animals, pork, lamb, stuff like that. Because they kind of lumped all the fish and the slimies and the creepy crawlies crawlies together. They didn't really consider that meat. So, along that line, though, that doesn't mean on Friday you go to Red Lobster and get the Admiral's Feast, because you love. That kind of defeats the purpose. It's supposed to be a sacrifice. And for the people in those river and lake towns, it was pretty much rice and fish was their staple. So it would be an unreasonable burden to take that away. Just imagine as we enter into this Lenten time, what if for a moment our soul was able to materialize on the outside of our bodies? What would it look like? So we enter into the marathon. There is a story of a king who is going to conquer another small village. He's conquered thousands of villages, has more gold, more property than he'll ever be able to use, but he kept trying to fill his life with this thing. This drove him, it gave him something to do. And he's on his way to conquer yet another small village that he doesn't need. And as he's riding along with his soldiers behind him, he sees this small shack off to the side near the beach. And he noticed these things hanging from the roof of the shack like decorations. They were pieces of pottery. And as he came closer, he was actually mesmerized by the beauty of this pottery. And so as he got right next to the shack, he stops and dismounts. And he goes over and he's inspecting these beautiful pieces of art. Now he's conquered villages and kingdoms all over the world, has more gold and beautiful artifacts than anyone could imagine, and yet he said this is the most beautiful art, the most beautiful pottery he had ever seen. And so he goes into this shack where he sees an old man at the potter's wheel, and the man's hands look kind of crippled. They can't even really move that well. And he says to the man, "Sir, how is it that you make such beautiful art?" And the old man turned to face where the voice was coming from. And the king saw that the man was blind. And he said, "How is it that an old, blind man can make such beautiful art?" And the artist responded, "I simply imagine what the vessel will hold, and the clay sculpts itself." I imagine what the vessel will hold, and the clay sculpts itself. We are earthen vessels. We are. We are the clay. And as the Sirach says, they will know us by our fruit. That, again, Jesus will say, a good tree produces good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. What do we hold? The king searched everywhere for something that would satisfy him and fill his life, and yet he was floundering through time, taking over villages, accumulating wealth, and he had nothing at all. He turned around, he took his soldiers, and he went home. If we could see our soul materialized on the outside of our body, what would it look like? What would our spirit look like? And how will it look different after